Hey guys, Mark here, and today I thought I'd do a slightly different video to what I normally do. It's a studio tour, so yeah, kind of conscious of the fact that I've been posting videos for the past decade, I guess, of me doing musical covers and doing my own music stuff, but I've never done an actual studio tour where I kind of talk you around my various instruments and my setup, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to do it today. Also partly because we're in the middle of this coronavirus lockdown, isolating, and I'm just a bit bored. So hopefully you enjoy the video and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, so this is the entrance to the studio itself. So for those that don't know, I live in a 2-bedroom house by myself. So the first bedroom is a bedroom, and the second bedroom I've essentially converted it to become a dedicated music studio. So this is just giving you a general overview of the room itself and the layout of things. And I guess the first thing you notice are the acoustic panels on the walls and the bass traps on the ceiling. So they do a really good job of dampening the natural reverb and flutter in the room, so really useful for recording and mixing purposes. Everything is done off of my MacBook Pro here, so that's a late 2012 MacBook Pro model, which obviously this video I'm doing in 2020, so I've had that for 8 years now and it's still going strong, I'm pleased to say. I've got 2 curved Samsung monitors, so that allows me to run 3 screens simultaneously. So my DAW of choice is Logic Pro X. So with these monitors, with this monitor here on the left, I run the basic arrange window in Logic, and then on the right, that's the dedicated mixer there, so that's really good for workflow. And then the third screen can just be, anything, I can use that as a notepad and write down lyrics or chord progressions, something like that. So that's the basic sort of laptop and software setup there. And then moving on to the audio interface, so I use a Focusrite Scarlett 6i6 interface. This is actually the 3rd or 4th Focusrite interface which I have owned, so really good brand, good company, recommend it to everyone. Connected just now are my headphones, so these are Beyerdynamic DT990 Pros. These are just brilliant headphones for the price. I mean, I think you can pick these up for £100. Really flat frequency response, really comfortable, so you can wear these for hours on end and still feel comfortable with them on. Not only do I use it for recording and mixing, but also just as general household headphones, so I listen to music on Spotify through these. And in terms of monitoring in the room, it's the classic yellow coned KRKs, so these are the 2nd gen RP5s. I had these for the best part of 8 years, I believe now. And yeah, can't go wrong with these. Got my ears tuned to them pretty well by now, and don't really have any plans to upgrade these to newer or more expensive monitor models anytime soon, so they will be staying. And then for the rest of the desk, so I've got a wireless Bluetooth keyboard and mouse here, just so I don't have to stretch over here to access the trackpad and keyboard on the MacBook itself. Over on the left, just some guitar care stuff, also capo, egg shaker, plectrums, and the most important thing actually, the reed diffuser, so room's got to smell nice and lush. The desk is from IKEA, and it had a nice feature below actually for cable management, so it came with this mesh netting, which you can see here. So what I did is I bought this 8-way power outlet, and I've just kind of wired everything on that and tidied all the cables up. Still could do a bit of work, like I've got my MacBook charger there. I can probably tidy it up a little bit better, but in general, if you look down here, this is where my feet would be. There's no cables around here to interfere with things, so in terms of that, that's a nice clean addition to the setup. Alright, and then away from the desk, this is the sort of guitar corner here. So I've got my my guitar rack here, which holds 5 guitars, the amp, and then I've just shown my little pedal train there. So I guess we'll start with the amp. So the amp is a Fender Blues Junior Mark IV model. So up until a year ago I had a Hughes & Kettner Tubemeister, but just wanted something different and also something with an onboard spring reverb. So bought this guy a year ago and just over the moon with him. He's just so good. The overdrive as well, the natural overdrive you get from it is really nice. Then on to the guitars themselves. So we've got a Martin 000 X1AE model. So I've had this for 10 years now. Don't really plan to change this out anytime soon because I'm really happy with it. Fitted with an LR Baggs M1 pickup. Next to that, my most recent addition, which is a Gretsch 2622 model. So really wanted like a semi-hollow or hollow body guitar with a tremolo arm on it. So got the Gretsch with the Bigsby, happy with that. Next to that is a Squier Bronco bass. So I'm not a bass guitar player by trade, but obviously in home studio if you're a songwriter, it's really useful to have a bass guitar just to quickly grab and, you know, just jot down some very simple tracks. So bought that second hand for about £80 a few months ago. Next to that is probably the go-to guitar for me is the Fender Stratocaster. This is a made in Mexico model, which my good friend Chris Miller actually set up for me. So shout out to Chris for all his good work. Got the intonation spot on, locked down the bridge, and just an absolute joy to play. And then the final one is my homemade La Cabronita model. So I actually built this guitar myself about 5 or 6 years ago, I believe. Just got the various parts, you know, the necks from Warmoth, the bodies from somewhere down south in England. I can't remember exactly where I got that from. But just got all the parts together, assembled it, and also painted it myself. Got that set up a few years ago as well. So that basically completes my guitar setup. So you've got the rack there and the 5 guitars at arm's reach. The effects pedals are down here on the pedal train Nano Plus. So just going through the pedals one by one, got the TC Electronic Polytune, the Moore Slow Engine. This is actually a go-to for me. I think, you know, slow attack pedals are probably one of the most underused effects in guitar setups. If you think about songs like Slow Hand by the Pointer Sisters and Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, you've got a sort of slow attack, you know, sort of so that kind of effect, I love that and I use that on a lot of my tracks. Next to that is the MXR Custom Badass Overdrive. I do plan on swapping him out for something new. Just a bit bored of the sound, to be honest. You know, I feel like the gain as well, like as soon as you bring the gain past like 9 o'clock, it just goes into sort of really sort of bit crunchy distortion rather than a sort of naturally warm overdrive, which is more of the sound I'd be looking for. So I do plan on changing him out soon. Next to that is the Carbon Copy delay. Really happy with this pedal. Can't go wrong with the analog delays. And finally the Ditto Looper. So this is just really useful for songwriting and it's just a really fun pedal, you know, just building up loops and just having fun in general. The sixth and final pedal I have, which is not on the board, is a TC Electronic Spark Boost, which I don't really have a use for that in the studio, so that's not on the board just now. But that essentially completes the guitar setup, minus, I guess you could say, the little ukulele I've got. So this is a Lanikai ukulele. I don't know why I have this, to be honest. I don't really play it. It doesn't feature in any of my tracks, but I guess it's just fun to kind of pick up and have a little play around from time to time. And who knows, maybe someday I'll find some inspiration from somewhere and actually include it on a track. So piano has always been my first instrument, so I guess naturally this is the most prominent part of the studio, you can say, and also the most expensive, to be honest. So this piano is a Kawai CS4 model. It's actually a digital piano, but it has the look and most importantly has the feel of an acoustic upright piano. Had this for 5 years now. It was actually when I got my first job after university, my first full-time job, this was what I blew my first month's wage on, but you know what, it was totally worth it. Being a digital piano, I've got it hooked up to the Focusrite via MIDI. So this MIDI cable here actually goes round the back, goes into the trunking just to tidy it up, and then goes back into the piano. So I can run all of my sort of onboards, Native Instruments, Contact, piano VSTs through Logic just by playing the piano here. And Also, the thing I sort of passed over on the table setup was the Arturia Minilab Mark II. So picked this up over a year ago. Just wanted something on hand to sort of punch in drum loops. So you've got the 8 drum pads here. Also a 2-octave keyboard, so that's useful if I've got like any sort of, you know, warm pads or basic synth stuff that I want to jot down very quickly on Logic. I've got this on hand. And by the way, everything that's running off of USB is actually running off of a powered hub. So back here you've got the powered USB hub, so the Focusrite and the Arturia go through that. And then I've got my SSDs which run Logic going through the other USB ports. One thing I skimmed over actually is the lighting. So you'll see I've got some ambient lighting here behind the piano and also behind the desk. So for those that are interested in that, that is the LifeX Z. So it's basically an LED strip. You can see it there. I've attached that to the back of the piano, and you can control that through your phone. So I've got one set up here in the studio. I've also got one behind my bed and one behind my sofa in the living room. So that's just really nice for ambient lighting. You can change the colours and do different fade effects and automate it. It's a really nice part of the studio. And obviously at night time, when it's dark outside, I don't have the light on typically up here. I just have the LifeX Z on, so it has this nice ambient effect, and it really gets me in the mood to work on my music. So then towards the back of the room, I've got my very pretty artificial plant just to make things look nice beside the piano. And then wardrobe here, hello. So the wardrobe just basically stores stuff. So I've got my guitar cases there, some suit jackets because why not, and up at the top I've just got some cables and some boxes to store stuff. It looks a bit messy just now, to be honest, but everything kind of sits back there and it just sits out of the way. And then I guess the hidden gem of the room actually is here. This is just a basic cupboard which I've converted to, ta-da, an isolation booth, so it kind of doubles as a vocal booth, and also a guitar booth as well. So what I'll do if I'm recording electric guitar, typically I'll take the Blues Junior from here and place it in here, and then what I'll do is I'll bring the MacBook and the Focusrite over and maybe sit them on a bench here, mic up the amp, close the door, and then what that allows me to do is essentially run the guitar amp really, really loud without disturbing the neighbours. So yeah, really happy with how this part of the studio has turned out. And actually, because I'm very rarely standing in here, it still has that new carpet smell, which I absolutely love. So to talk about the large diaphragm condensers, so previously used the Rode NT1A as my main large diaphragm condenser, but recently swapped it out for the similar sounding, in terms of name, NT1, but when it comes to the musical sound you get, it's very different. So the NT1 here is very flat frequency response, whereas the NT1A had some actually really horrible bumps in the sort of mid to mid-high frequencies. Didn't really work well with my voice either, so I actually plan to sell that very, very soon. I'll mic the guitar amp up with the NT1 mostly, but I also have a Shure SM57, sort of classic dynamic mic for miking up guitar amps, so depending on the sound I'm going for, I can also use the SM57. And last but not least, over here, these are the Lewitt LCT040 match. This is a matched pair of small diaphragm condenser pencil mics. They're really, really small. I mean, this is my index finger here. The mic's basically the size of my finger. But these sit on a Rode stereo bar, which I purchased a few months ago. And these are just really useful for stereo recording. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, I've started recording acoustic guitar in stereo basically all the time. So the good thing with the stereo bar and these mics and the setup is just now they're kind of like a sort of spaced pair ORTF hybrid. But you can also bring them in just by loosening the 2 screws down here, and then re-angle the mics, and then in a matter of seconds you're in an XY configuration. So this is really versatile, sitting on the stand here, and this is what I use to record my acoustic guitars. Yep, so that's basically it. Little tour of my studio. Hopefully you found it enjoyable. I certainly found it enjoyable just to do something and not be bored during this coronavirus lockdown that we're all in. So hope you're all keeping safe, keeping well, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.